What the actual heck? So it's Monday, January 18th, 2022. Monday is a normal news day for a lot of businesses because they like to have, the full news week, when they're releasing like good news essentially. Sometimes they would release, bad news on Friday because then people forget about it. But today, Microsoft bought Activision-Blizzard for $68.7 billion out of literally nowhere. Like nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw it coming. And in hindsight, I feel kind of surprised that this wasn't talked about more. Which I know Activision, is a massive company. They own Candy Crush, Call of Duty, Overwatch, World of Warcraft. The list goes on and on and on and on. Like there's tons of IPs there. But I mean, it's a company that's been plagued by an insane amount of bad PR this year, and they just seem to not be, they seem to have not been going in the right direction, which makes a little bit more sense why they haven't, just kicked their CEO out the door, because obviously the company was for sale. Real quickly, before we get into the video, if you're new here, I make, content like this all the time where I'll give my thoughts or talk about the gaming industry. It's been a thing that I've been doing more so recently, but please feel free to hit the subscribe button. It should be over here or something. It would be greatly appreciated. How did we go from like about a year ago, or maybe it was back in 2020, I forget exactly when the announcement was made public, but Microsoft bought Bethesda for like 7 billion. And I mean, I think what I've seen some people say online is this makes Bethesda look like an indie company that Microsoft bought, because it's like 10 times more expensive. Granted, you get all the IPs. Just to go down the list, other than the things I named a minute ago, I mean, you got Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, Tony Hawk, Guitar Hero, Diablo. It seems like an endless collection of classics that have been made over the course of the year, and IPs that, they can turn into, future games and other products too. Now, I feel like one of the first things that needs to happen, this probably cannot be made official until the deal goes through, which I've heard is rumored to be June 2023. It's supposed to definitely be next year. Microsoft's going to need to clean house, at least at the management level, like upper management level. Bobby Kotick's going to have to go, and I'm sure they probably just want to get rid of, as many people as they can and just, put in their own people. I mean, Microsoft's going to basically have to, institute all of their policies. It's going to be quite a change for Activision Blizzard. And Microsoft's probably going to have to be a little bit more hands-on than they've been with other developers. They a lot of times like to buy the developer and just like, let them go, do whatever they want. But I think they're going to have to be a little bit more hands-on in making sure that the structure of Activision Blizzard is set up to not have future issues of, like sexual harassment. The second thing that's really, on everybody's mind. It was on everybody's mind when they bought Bethesda. Xbox is a much smaller ecosystem than PlayStation or the Nintendo Switch, So do you put your games as exclusives on that platform? And I mean, it's probably going to get dragged out into a big, long discussion like it was last time. But after thinking about it initially, I think that yes, I think that these games are going to be exclusives to Xbox and PC and cloud. They'll still support games like Warzone. They'll still support games like World of Warcraft. They'll still support games, maybe like, whatever happens with Overwatch. Like they're going to support existing games, but I can't see like the reasoning why to not make them exclusive. Like the argument is, wow, they're giving up so much money by not putting like Call of Duty on PlayStation. Yes, true. In the short term, they are giving up a lot of microtransaction money and a lot of money from selling the game. But the idea is to make Xbox like a powerhouse. Like if you want to play Call of Duty, you'd have to buy an Xbox, or you'd have to have a PC, or you'd have to play on your phone. I mean, that market, that demographic of gamer who plays Call of Duty will buy an Xbox if that's the only place they can buy it. So this could potentially make Xbox be like massive. The amount of IPs they're going to have on their platform, I mean, it makes it to where, maybe 3 to 5 years from now, wow, we didn't make as much money on Call of Duty as we thought, but 10 to 15 years from now, maybe they're making more than ever because they didn't have to develop for as many platforms. I feel like there's a lot of arguments to it. I think that most, if not all of the IPs will be exclusive, but we'll see. Now, another thing that like came to mind is since Activision Blizzard will be under, like a mega company, $3 trillion market cap or whatever Microsoft is these days, company that had $165 billion in cash, is what I've heard. Will we get to see, these smaller IPs like a Crash Bandicoot or a Spyro Tony Hawk that, while popular, doesn't make as much as like a COD. Maybe we'll get to see some of those games get like more fleshed out, because like they'll of course have a place in Game Pass and people would love to play them like day one. And it's not as like dependent on those games being super successful for there to be a sequel, you know, like financially. I mean, I know Toys for Bob under Activision Blizzard, you know, they got taken off of like they made, I think, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, and then they made Crash 4. All, you know, reviewed extremely well. I don't know if Crash 4 sold that well, but Activision put them on Warzone. It's like, what? Like, I know people are going to say that like consolidation is bad for the industry, but like when we've got developers like Bethesda making Fallout 76, which is an absolute like train wreck, just because they thought they needed to make more money off their games, and like companies that make, or like developers that make 3D platformers and putting them on Warzone, it's like it just seems like such a waste of IP. So I'm hoping that we'll get to see some more of those games, you know, have more leniency and not as much expectance and like a need to make as much money. I'm also curious to see like if Microsoft's gonna like, you know, give Toys for Bob or something like that, you know, like the Banjo Kazooie IP, and let them make a new Banjo game. I think that would be awesome. I mean, you know, the opportunities are definitely there. But overall, I mean, I feel like my head is like spinning still, and I've known about this for like 4 or 5 hours. I just wanted to make a video, you know, giving my impressions. Definitely more news to come, I'm sure, within the days, months. I mean, it's going to be over a year before this deal goes through. It's going to be really cool, I think, for Microsoft. I actually think that this might be a good thing for the industry. I know that people say consolidation's bad. I implicitly trust Phil Spencer at this point. I think he's done an amazing job of turning Xbox around, and I think he can turn Activision Blizzard around. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, Phil Spencer is just a man. I don't want to put too much faith in him. But, I mean, he obviously has the backing of the Microsoft CEO, Satya Nadella. They've spent, you know, upwards of $80 million on acquisitions in recent years. But yeah, just wanted to make like an initial impressions video. I mean, it'll be a day late when I post it, but I'll probably make like a more fleshed out video where I'll like go through like points and like explain like what I'm thinking will happen. And, you know, maybe like kind of like what I did with a video that's going to be coming out probably tomorrow, on why video games are getting too expensive. So maybe I'll do something like that where I'll like get sources. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Peace out.